There was an idea.
"2018 was a hell of a year for movies. We had some that were good, some that were great, some that were incredibly disappointing, and some that were just absolute crap. Looking on the more positive side of the films, we're going to be looking at my top 10 films of 2018. Even though I saw a total of about 29 feature films this year, there were some that I was not able to get to. Therefore, this is just a list of movies that I saw and very much enjoyed throughout the year. Mind you, this is all opinion-based. My opinion does not reflect yours in any way, shape, or form. My list could be way different than anyone else's. Some of the movies that I might have on this list may be in the worst list of someone else's list. But I say to that, enough stalling, and let's get into my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. Number 10. Starring Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin and Jim Cummings as the voice of Tigger and Pooh, Christopher Robin takes place in the 1950s, where we see a grown-up Christopher Robin interacting with Winnie the Pooh. As someone who grew up with watching Winnie the Pooh as not only a TV show, but with the movie The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, I have an incredible amount of nostalgia for the characters that are in this. One movie in particular that I really enjoyed when I was growing up was the Tigger movie. So as one can expect, I had a lot of expectations when going into this film. Well, this movie does go on to the generic side of things when considering that this plot has been done before. A story in which a grown-up character has to reconnect with his childhood and his imagination in some way, shape, or form. You can definitely see shades of this in similarities with the movie Hook starring Robin Williams. However, what really got to me was the acting, the story, and a lot of the characters. Ewan McGregor has an excellent performance as Christopher Robin, and Jim Cummings always knocks it out of the park as Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. Oddly enough, one of my favorite aspects of this movie was actually Eeyore, believe it or not. His almost serious demeanor of looking at things in such a depressing way is kinda hilarious, and it definitely added a decent amount of comedy to the film. I definitely recommend that anyone who is a Winnie the Pooh fan, or anyone who actually grew up with these characters, I definitely recommend you see the movie. Number 9. The Death of Stalin is a political satire that centers around the actual death of Joseph Stalin. Oddly enough, a lot of the events that actually happen within the movie are very historically accurate to what actually happened, with its own brand of comedy that is thrown in. This movie is easily the best comedy that I have seen all year. It's incredibly witty, it has a lot of dry humor, there's a lot of stuff in it that really works well. The performances from all the actors are just astonishing, Steve Buscemi being a real standout here. And overall, it's just a really fantastic movie. I recommend everyone go see it. Number 8. Now, as someone who has been kind of iffy on the DC Expanded Universe, this was an incredible surprise for me. James Wan's direction for this movie is absolutely incredible. It has the epic scale of Lord of the Rings that they have just placed into the world of Atlantis. Jason Momoa absolutely kills it yet again as Aquaman. This movie itself has sort of kind of restored a lot of faith in me for the DC Expanded Universe. And I rank it up there, in fact, as probably the best film in the DCEU so far. Number 7. The Isle of Dogs is another incredible animated film that Wes Anderson has brought to us, really exemplifying the comedic styles that Wes Anderson is definitely known for, with some of the monotone acting actually working really well in this environment. Wes Anderson just has such a unique style and unique voice when it comes to his films that I am definitely hyped whenever a new film from him comes out. This is the second animated feature film that he has brought to us, and the first one that he did was The Fantastic Mr. Fox. It has easily just some of the best comedy I have seen in all year. Whatever project that Wes Anderson has planned after this, whether it be a new comedy from him, or from what I hear it is rumored that he is going to be working on a horror film, I just can't wait to see what other sort of unique stuff that Wes Anderson has in store for us. Number 6. For those who may know, Creed was actually one of my absolute favorite films from 2015. And with the sequel being able to bring in the son of Ivan Drago and being able to explore more of the story that would have taken place after the events of Rocky IV, it definitely has a very refreshing feel to it, meaning that from one of the most over-the-top movies of all time, we've gotten this incredibly dramatic, very serious, and very, very emotional movie. The one thing I definitely didn't expect was getting us this involved with not only Adonis and his side of the story and him, spoilers, him becoming a father and also being the champion of the heavyweight title, but also we get to see more of the side of the Dragos, seeing that family dynamic, how Ivan and his son work off of each other, how they interact, how this has affected them ever since Ivan lost the fight to Rocky. The performances are just some of the most amazing performances I've seen all year. Michael B. Jordan should definitely get at least an Oscar nomination for his performance in this movie. Number 5. There isn't really much to say about this that hasn't already been said yet. Deadpool 2 is just one of the most awesome and one of the most creative visions for a comic book movie I've seen out there. Deadpool is a character that I've loved for many years. Ryan Reynolds, once again, does an amazing performance as the character. The dynamic with him and Cable, played by Josh Brolin, is one of the best sort of buddy cop aspects, I guess you could say. It has some incredible action sequences. David Leitch did an amazing job as a director behind the film. I love the style, I love the comedy, I love everything about it. You just need to go and see it. Number 4. Easily enough, this is the most fun experience I've had all year in a movie theater. Never before in a movie theater have I gotten so overjoyed when certain things would be popping up on screen. There were so many times where I was probably just squealing like a little girl. Easily enough, it's definitely one theater experience that I will never forget. Spielberg's direction for the film is incredible, as per usual. All the acting in the film is very well done. The effects in the movie, while fake looking, are kind of more passable, seeing as this is supposed to be a very video game-like world. So you're not supposed to buy the fact that these are real and they're supposed to be right in front of you. No, it's very much in the realms of a video game. Plus, seeing all these incredible properties just sort of mashed together into this epic collage of pop cultural phenomenon is definitely really enjoyable to see on screen. Number 3. Brad Bird, you son of a bitch, you did it again. For not only an incredibly emotional story, but also just some incredible acting from all the voice cast, the direction and writing from Brad Bird himself, the astonishing animation from Pixar Studios as per usual, and easily some of the best action sequences I have seen in a movie this year. Incredibles 2, for being a sequel to one of my all-time favorite Pixar movies, definitely had a lot to live up to, and it surpassed it. So much so that I actually think that this movie is better than the original. Number 2. There's only one huge thought that I had when I was coming out of the theater when I saw the movie. And the Academy Award for Best Actress goes to Lady Gaga. She had an incredible performance in this movie, easily the best that I have seen from an actress this year. And that's no small feat, considering it is very hard for singers to cross over into the world of acting. There are very few people who have actually successfully crossed over into the world of acting from being a stage performer, such as, obviously, there's Lady Gaga. Most performers that have done this successfully include, like, Jennifer Lopez, Jamie Foxx, and Jared Leto. The singing and the performances in this movie are great. Bradley Cooper exemplifies himself as an incredible up-and-coming director, as well as being one of the best actors of our time. If he gets behind the director's chair again, I'm definitely going to be seeing what else he definitely comes up with, because I want to see him progress his talent as a director. And saying that, this might be my new favorite interpretation of the story behind A Star is Born, which is really high praise considering that this is the third remake that has been done for this particular story. Before we get to the number 1 spot, here are some honorable mentions. Mary Poppins Returns. Love the movie. I absolutely love Mary Poppins. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. However, there are some flaws that were in the movie that, even though I did love the overall film, it did hinder it from getting onto the top 10 list. Bumblebee. This was just an overall huge surprise for me. I did not expect to like Bumblebee at all. However, from seeing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, seeing that Travis Knight was going to be working on the film, this is the guy who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, one of my all-time favorite animated films. Going into this movie, there was a lot of speculation for me that it was still going to be crap, but overall it just surprised me to no end. It was definitely one of the best, not only best looking movies of the year, but one of the best sounding, and definitely had a lot of great potential, but again, there was some stuff that kind of held it back for me, kind of some pacing issues, and a few things that kind of held it back, and plus it just wasn't as good as some of the other films that came out this year. The Mule. Love Clint Eastwood. Love this movie, just wasn't as good as some of the other films this year. Solo, A Star Wars Story. I don't care. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I actually really like this movie. There are some issues that I obviously have with it, mostly due to the cinematography and some of the pacing, but I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought Alden Ehrenreich had a great performance as Han Solo. I think there is some great stuff in this movie. I think it is a worthy spin-off. I think it did really, really well. Bohemian Rhapsody. Easily the best thing about this movie was the direction from Bryan Singer, and quite easily the best thing in this movie was Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. What held this movie back, though, was the pacing, the switching around of some historical events, especially one big one that just kind of halted the movie in one way. Overall, I love the movie, but it just didn't reach above to get into the list. Halloween. Absolutely a huge surprise for me. I thought this was, again, going to be crap, considering that most of the Halloween movies have just kind of been degrading over time. There was a lot of great things in this movie, and it easily has one of my favorite performances from Jamie Lee Curtis. The gore was absolutely phenomenal in this movie, and I think it's definitely up there with John Carpenter's original classic as probably being the best Halloween movie. But sadly, there were much more movies that came out this year that were better than this. Mission Impossible Fallout. This was very close to being on my list. In fact, it's probably one of the single best action movies I have seen in recent memory, with Tom Cruise giving pretty much 110%, if not 200%. Now the main thing I want to see is just the amazing stunt work from these movies put into the James Bond franchise, and maybe we can get some really cool stuff from there. Won't You Be My Neighbor?
To see that I've helped shape little girls into women like you just gives me such a warm feeling in my heart. And my shorts are on fire. What I mean to say was, looking at those beautiful hooters makes me want to stick my face in there and go...
There isn't really much I have to say about this movie. I was hit on a really emotional level with this. I grew up with a lot of reruns of Mr. Rogers, and I thought this was just an incredible documentary. Black Panther. a really, really good comic book movie, and I thought it was just really incredible to see this character really brought to life on screen. Chadwick Boseman had a great performance. What really was the highlight was a lot of the side characters, though. Andy Serkis had a really wonderfully over-the-top performance, as he usually gives. And easily the highlight of the movie was Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, once again giving another amazing performance this year. But there were some things that held it back. The special effects in the movie, the visuals, while stunning at some points, at other points, especially during the finale, just kind of were going a bit low. But overall, it was just an incredibly fun movie. But let's stop stalling and let's get to my number one movie of 2018. Number 1. Yeah, you guys kinda guessed it since I was playing the trailer at the very beginning. With easily some of the best action sequences that I have seen in a movie this year. The great characters, the great story, the amazing villain. Thanos has easily taken his place as the king, the absolute best villain we have gotten in the MCU so far. Josh Brolin as Thanos just steals the movie entirely. He is just the commanding force behind this movie, and we follow his journey from the very beginning. The incredible motion capture and effects that was used to bring Thanos to life is just amazing to see, and the movie will at the very least get an Oscar nomination for its best visual effects. The story by the end had me just wondering what was going to happen next after the snap. There's definitely a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed throughout this movie. In fact, I can't really find a single flaw that I have with this movie. I loved every minute of it. I love the characters, I love the story, I love every aspect of this movie. And that is why Avengers Infinity War is my favorite movie of this year. Well, that about covers it for 2018. It's been one hell of a ride. As for 2019, I am incredibly excited to see what else is going to be coming out for this year. I can't wait for all the new movies, I can't wait for all the new video games, whatever is going to be coming out this year. I am incredibly excited. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like the video, go down in the description where we still have the campaign up for Echo Squad: A Star Wars Story. Be sure to support the channel and be able to get our newest short film out there. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.